Masechet Gittin Daf Peh Tet, nearing the end. Today is a very interesting and important and relevant topic of rumors. There have always been rumors flying around since the first society. Nowadays is even more relevant with social media and rumors flying around even faster and often unsubstantiated. So here we're going to deal with the question, if you have absolute proof like two witnesses or something, okay, then we know for sure what's going on. But if there's just a rumor that someone either got married, kiddushin, nisuin, or got divorced, received a get, there's only a rumor. Should we trust that rumor? Do we trust it lechumra? Can we trust it also lekula? So we'll see a couple of different approaches and opinions. Some will say that we take rumors seriously. After all, a lot of times, even though something's just a rumor, then eventually when it is investigated, more often than not, a rumor does have truth to it. On the other hand, there's another camp that says, no, rumors we take lightly. We dismiss them. Because sometimes rumors really are just totally made up. Someone misinterpreted. They see someone, doing something, and they interpret it in some other way. Really, it had nothing to do with the way they interpret it, and the rumor just spreads and it gets exaggerated. So we'll see that school as well. Okay, so that'll be two different approaches and opinions. And we're also going to see something called amatla. Amatla, Hebrew, is Aramaic equivalent to Hebrew mashal. This means a story, a backstory, or an alternative explanation. If there is a rumor, but you can find an alternate explanation of why that rumor was started, we'll see some examples, then we can dismiss the rumor. It says, oh, I know why that rumor started, right? You must have seen this or that. And then the question of that backstory, if you know the backstory is for sure true and it was known originally, then fine, we can dismiss the rumor based on the backstory. But what if we're not sure, but there's a possible backstory, right? Should we impose or assume a possible backstory and thereby dismiss the rumor, or only if we know for sure that that backstory actually happened? What if we find out about the backstory only after the fact, a long time after the rumor is spread? Then can we still trust that backstory, or is that just covering up the rumor? Okay, all that and more. So let's start. Yasa shem ha'ba'ir mikudeshet, harezo mikudeshet, megoreshet, harezo megoreshet. If there is a rumor that a certain woman in this city is mikudeshet, so it's important that it has some specifics to it, right, in a certain city. Then we assume, yes, that she must have been mikudeshet, and that's why the rumor spread. And therefore, if somebody else wants to go and marry her, we will, and she go do kiddushin, we will not allow her to get married to another person. So for sure, lechumra, she would have to get divorced from that first guy before we will allow her to marry anybody else. So this is a rumor that we do take seriously. And now we're interpreting migoreshet here as a second case. The Gemara will question this and actually read this as mikudeshet and then migoreshet. But right now, let's say the simple peshat. If we hear about a certain person that we know that they were married before, that they were married, right? The current status is we know that she's married, but then a rumor spreads that she is divorced. Then harezo megoreshet, she is divorced. Now this is not necessarily likula, that we're going to allow her to remarry without verification, but it'll be lechumra if she is married to a kohen, then she will not be able to remain with him or marry a kohen afterwards. So even the rumor is going to make us be machmir. Now, this chumrah, that we take these rumors seriously, is only bilvad shelo yeheh sham amatla, only if there's no alternative explanation for this rumor. Ezohi amatla. What is an example? Geresh ish peloni et ishto al tenai. That this man divorced his wife on a condition. The condition that she pays 200 zuz within a month, and she doesn't pay it. So in that case, that's an explanation for the rumor. And in fact, but if the condition was not fulfilled, they're not actually divorced. So in that case, right, the person can come and say, this rumor, there is a rumor that she is divorced, but that rumor is based on the fact that it's based on some truth that he did give her a get, but that get is on condition, and the condition wasn't fulfilled, and therefore she is not divorced, and we can throw out the rumor. So as long as we have an alternate explanation, then we can throw out the rumor. Zarak la kidusheh safek kadob la safek kadob lo zohi amatla. Or another case, if he throws a kiddushin to her and it's not clear if it's closer to him, in which case it's not a good kiddushin, or closer to her, in which case it is a good kiddushin, so then we'd have to act on that, ami safek. So these are examples of an alternate explanation, and in these cases you wouldn't just trust the rumor, but rather, since we have an explanation, we'll follow through with that explanation and see, well, can we verify, which was it closer, what was the condition fulfilled, and we will act accordingly. Okay, now question on the opening. Vastrinan la agavra. You said we know she was married. We know she is married. And then we hear a rumor that she is prohibited, that she's migoreshet. So are we going to say that she is prohibited, for example, from marrying a kohen now, just based on a rumor? We have a rule that any rumor that comes out, that circulates after a marriage is done, we dismiss the rumor. See, if the person wasn't married yet, and they said, oh, there's a rumor that she's a divorcee, so then we're not going to allow her to marry a kohen, because maybe she's a divorcee. We have to verify first. So we're not going to let her get married lechatechila. However, let's say she already was married, and only after that, and she married a kohen, let's say, and only after that there's a rumor that, oh, she had been divorced before. We're not going to break up a marriage. We won't let her enter into a marriage in the first place, but we're not going to break up a marriage if the rumor comes out after she's already married. And that would be the case here, right? So why should we pay attention to this rumor if she is already married? And we answer, Hachi Ka'amar. No, restructure the opening two clauses. Yasashema ba'ir mikudeshet, terezo mikudeshet. The first case is the same. If there's a rumor that she had been mikudeshet, we assume that that's right. No one else can marry her unless she gets a divorce or verifies that the rumor was false. Mikudeshet umegoreshet. See, the second case is a continuation of the first one. Mikudeshet and also megoreshet. Then harezo megoreshet. Maitama kol veshovero imo. Then we assume that in fact she was definitely divorced, because here the rumor and the receipt comes with it. Receipt meaning we only know that we assumed beforehand, before any of these rumors, we only knew that she was single, and so we would have allowed her to marry anybody. Now there's two rumors, but the two rumors basically cancel out each other. We have a rumor that she got kiddushin, and another rumor that she was divorced from that kiddushin. So fine, we can believe both rumors, and she is therefore single. If you're going to not believe one of the rumors, then don't believe the other one either, and therefore cancel both of them, and she's also single. So that's the case in which we say, hare zo megoreshet, we assume that she is in fact totally single. But if she was already surely married, then we would not trust just a rumor to break up her marriage. All right. Amarava. Yasad Hashem mizana ba'ir en hosheshin la. Mai ta'ama perisuta ba'alma hu dehazu la. Let's say there's a rumor that she acted like a zonah, right? I mean, she had relations, and that would make her ineligible to marry a kohen. She had relations outside of marriage. We dismiss that rumor. We don't worry about it. It's okay, she can marry a kohen. Why? Because we assume that someone saw her doing pirisut, meaning fooling around with some guy. And, even though this is not condoned behavior, we don't assume that just because she was fooling around, that means she actually had intercourse. And if she was just having that behavior, then that would not disqualify her from marrying a kohen. And so we assume that someone saw her just hugging someone and then jumped to a conclusion that, oh, see, they must have slept together. So this is a good example of an amatla, we have an explanation for how this rumor started, and so we can assume the best and assume that the rumor is just an exaggeration and throw it out. Okay, that's Rava's opinion. So now we say Kitana'eh. In fact, there are two different schools of thought within Amoraim and within Tanaim. Achla bashuk gera bashuk henika bashuk bechulan Rabbi Meir omer teseh. Rabbi Akiva omer mi sheyis'u v'hitenu ba mozrot ba levana. If a woman eats in the marketplace, nowadays a lot of people eat, whatever, ice cream cones and things in the marketplace. But basically this is considered uncouth to go eat in public. Or if she walks with her neck stretched forward in an arrogant way, or nurses in the marketplace, these are all activities that a loose woman would do. So in all these cases, Rabbi Meir says she has to leave her husband because she did things this loose kind of behavior. We should assume the worst. Assume that she probably did other things. She would probably committed adultery, and therefore willingly, and therefore has to leave her husband. Rabbi Akiva says no. Only if the women who are spinning by the moonlight, women who stay up late and they talk to each other and gossip, and if they're all talking and says, "Oh, did you hear about this one? Right? How she committed adultery?" Then once that rumor is spread sufficiently that the women are these spinning women talk about it, then that's considered enough of a rumor that she has to leave her husband. Okay, these two opinions are machmir. They accept these just behaviors, or suspicious behaviors, or rumors, and assume that maybe they're true, and therefore she has to leave them. So these are machmir, take rumors seriously. However, Amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Uri, im ken, lo hinachta bat laVavraham Avinu sheyoshevet tachat ba'ala. He says, this is too, you're being too machmir, and you have not left any daughter of Avraham to remain with her husband. Everybody's going to be, going to have to worry all the time. Who knows? Someone might spread some slander, and sometimes people have enemies. Maybe, someone in business, their competitor, whatever, wants to bring someone down, and they'll just go start spreading rumors, go and join those women spinning and say, "Oh, did you hear about this one?" And then they repeat it to each other. And it's too easy to slander someone and ruin their lives. And so you're not going to let anybody just live peacefully with their husbands and have a nice life. והתורה אמרה כי מסע בה ערוות דבר, ולנו אומר על פי שניים עדים או על פי שלושה עדים יקום דבר. מה להלן דבר ברור? אף כאן דבר ברור. And furthermore, we have a גזרה שווה. It says, if a husband sees in his wife ervat davar, then that is grounds for divorce. Now, ervat davar, literally, it sounds like something that has to do with adultery. If he finds that she committed adultery. Now, based on what? Based on just a rumor or based on proof? Well, this word davar comes up again in cases of crimes based on 2 or 3 witnesses. Yakum davar, that's how you establish davar, so you have to know for sure. So just like regarding witnesses to punish someone, it has to be proven, so too regarding adultery, it has to be proven. All right, if someone can prove it, then those are grounds for divorce. But if not, if it's just a rumor, then you should dismiss it, because otherwise you're going to destabilize too many marriages and daughters of Abraham, who generally are trustworthy. They're not going to be able to live comfortably, right, with a fear that someone might at any time spread a false rumor. So that's Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. So we see Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is lenient about rumors. That follows Rava, right? We should dismiss rumors. People are just exaggerating things, whereas the other opinions are machmir about rumors. Tenor Rabbanan, Be'ula en choshishin la, Nesua en choshishin la, Arusa en choshishin la, Shelo liploni en choshishin la, Be'ir acheret en choshishin la. We have a long list of rumors that we should dismiss. If there's a rumor that someone is a be'ula, she's not a betula, right? She had relations with someone and therefore would not be able to marry a Kohen Gadol for sure. we dismiss it, that she is married, but there's no proof. We dismiss that rumor that she had got engaged, she did kiddushin. We dismiss it that she did kiddushin, but they don't say with whom, or they say she did kiddushin, she had kiddushin in some other city, but not in this city. So there's not enough particulars, details about it, right? That's what you're looking for in a rumor, right? Are there specifics? That gives more substantiation. Without any specifics, we dismiss it. Mamzeret en choshishin la. Shifcha en choshishin la. Someone says, oh, I heard that person's a mamzeret. No, we throw it out. She's a shifcha. No, we ignore that. Hikdish peloni nechasav, hifkir peloni nechasav, en choshishin lahen. I heard that this person, he may take all his property hekdesh, or he made his property hefker, ownerless. Right, and now all of a sudden everyone's going to go run and grab his stuff. Oh, we heard it's ownerless. No, all these are unsubstantiated rumors, and we do not act on them. So this is a braita that follows the view that we should dismiss rumors that have no basis. Amad Ola, lo sheshamu kol havara, ela kedeh shehu nerot dolkot mitot musaot bnei adam nichnasim yosin ve'omrim pelonit mitkadeshet hayom. Okay, back to the Mishnah that said, if you hear rumor that someone did kiddushin, and then you have to assume it's true. Ula says this is not just based on some echo, right? I heard someone said, I overheard. No, that is nonsense. A rumor that the Mishnah is talking about is something that is more substantiated. We're talking about a case where there were candles lit in a home, someone's home or whatever, their hall, wherever they do weddings. Probably often they did it in a home, but maybe in some public space. And they put beds, meaning like couches that they would lie on to eat, not to sleep. So to recline. So we heard, rather people said, I saw that there were people and they made a whole wedding banquet with candles all set out at night, and we saw people that were entering and leaving. In other words, we don't know anybody that was actually at the ceremony themselves. If there was someone at the ceremony and they said, yeah, we went there was a kiddushin ceremony, and we saw that he said, okay, that would be witnesses, then we know for sure. But right, we don't have anybody that actually was there, but rather people were outside, passing by. He says, yeah, we saw people going in and out of that house, right? They must have had a kiddushin. And they heard the people coming out saying, oh, this person is being mitkadeshet hayom. So we have no one that actually saw the kiddushin, but we saw people coming in and out of a house that was that had party balloons in front and a party rental truck, and people were saying this person is getting engaged today. That's called a substantiated rumor, sufficient that no, we would not allow her to marry anybody else. Okay, mitkadeshet. Now we ask, they said that she is getting engaged. Well, that doesn't mean that she actually got engaged, right? Maybe that's the family was planning on it, but they had last-minute negotiations. You're not giving enough camels. They broke it off. Maybe she said no. Maybe she ran away. So that's not actually sufficient proof. Maybe that never happened. So Emma, okay, change the wording of ula to pilonit nit kadesha hayom. People are leaving the party saying that this woman, she received kiddushin today. All right, so they have to actually say so. And so we don't know those people that actually were there, but we heard people over here, others who saw a party and saw people come out and say there was kiddushin today. That is a substantiated rumor that we can trust. וכן תנה לוי, לא שישמעו כל הברה, אלא כדי שיהיו נרות דולקות מיתות מוסעות, ונשים טובות לאור הנר, ושמחות לה, ואומרות פלונית מתקדשת היום. Similarly, Levi said, Mishnah is not where people just hear an echo, but rather that, again, you have the candles lit and the beds are set out, and women spinning by the candlelight are happy for her, and they're saying, oh, this woman is being mitkadeshet hayom. Again, we ask, mitkadeshet v'dimalait kadesha. Amar papa ema pelonit nitkadesha hayom. It's not enough if they say she is getting engaged, because maybe she wasn't actually engaged. Rather say that the women are repeating, we heard that this woman got engaged today, and is substantiated by the party truck that's delivering couches. Amar Rabba bar Hana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Lo sheshamu kol havara, ela kedei shehu nerot, dolkot umitot musaot, ubnei adam nichnasin v'yosin. Amru davar, zehu kol. Lo amru davar, zehu amatla. Okay, similarly, Rabbi Yochanan says again, it's not enough that we just hear an echo, just a rumor based on nothing, but rather we saw that there was a party there, the lights were lit, the couches were set forth, people were going in and out, and if they said something, then that's considered a rumor. They have to say something, right? Like what we said before, right? This person has gotten engaged. But if they didn't say anything, then that's not that. Then this is an alternate explanation, right? They come in and out. They didn't say anything. So who knows? And then later on, some rumor is spread. So we can't assume that rumor that this party was an engagement party, because the people coming out didn't actually say anything, even though if it was in that person's house. Maybe they just had a fundraiser. Maybe they had a party for a birthday party. Who knows what they had? And so if they didn't say anything, then that is an alternate explanation, and we can dismiss the rumor. Now we ask, Lo amru, v'ha lo amru v'lo chilum. Wait a second. If they said nothing when they were coming out, right? Maybe they just said that was a nice, that was good food, but they didn't say anything about what they were celebrating. Well, then you don't even need an explanation. There's no rumor to begin with. Like that's just nothing. So it has to be that they said something or other, but they said something that was ambiguous. That's the key. So if they said something and it was kind of ambiguous what they said, it's not clear that if they meant, they said something like, that's a good couple, or I don't know, they didn't actually say, we saw this person get engaged, then that's the amatla, that's the backstory, and we can throw out the rumor. But if they said something specific, we saw them engaged, then and only then is that rumor substantiated. Okay, la puke midraba bar Rav Huna. This statement, that with this explanation of Rabbi Yochanan, excludes something that Rabba bar Rav Huna said. Amar, amatla shamru afilu mikan ve'ad asara yamim. He said that we will accept a backstory even if we hear about it way after the rumor. The rumor starts today. A few days later, there's a backstory that turns up. Now, this is very lenient regarding rumors. In other words, they're going to dismiss a rumor even if the backstory comes out later. Whereas others would say, no, the backstory has to come out right away. With the rumor, then we can dismiss the rumor. If we have the rumor first, and then 9 days later, the backstory is something we hear, that means someone made up the backstory after, and we have to take the rumor seriously. So Rabba bar Rav Huna is saying we'll accept the backstory anytime he wants to dismiss rumors. So that's his opinion, but that's different from Rabbi Yochanan. Kamash malan lo amruhu dehavya amatla ha amru la havya amatla. So he's saying if they didn't say something specific at that time, then we can consider that a backstory. Who knows? They were just at a party. They said something. It's a nice couple, but they didn't say anything specific. At the time, that's a good backstory, and we can throw out the rumor. But if they said this is if they said this person just got engaged, then you can't add a backstory afterwards to negate that rumor. That's a verified rumor. So Rabbi Yochanan is taking these rumors a little bit more seriously. That if you hear that. Once you hear that, then you can't add some backstory later that, it was only a kiddushin al tanai, right? And they didn't really mean it. They took it back. You can't say anything like that afterwards. Whereas Rabba bar Rav Huna, and Rabbi Yochanan said all this to exclude the opinion of Rabba bar Rav Huna, who thinks that the condition, the backstory can be added even a few days later. Amar Rabbi Abba Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav Lo sheshamu kol havara ela kedei sheyamru peloni mehechan shama mepeloni ufloni mepeloni ubodkin v'olchin ad shemagiin ledavar barur. So further limiting the Mishnah. See, all these Amoraim, have a problem. The Mishnah says we accept a rumor. What do you mean? Just accept any rumor? No, the Mishnah was not talking about just an echo that someone repeats, but rather they will say, wait, who'd you hear that from? And who did that person hear it from? And you trace it all the way back until you get to something that's clear, a clear matter, right? You can ask, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? We're talking about like a small village, and you can trace back exactly who said it. You could do that probably now on texting, right? Who'd you receive that text from? And you could try to trace it back to the original source, and then you know if there was an actual eyewitness all the way at the beginning, then you'll know that it's a trustworthy rumor. Now we ask, wait, that's too trustworthy. Davar habarur edut me'aliyatahu. That's not a rumor anymore. That's testimony. If you can find the original eyewitness that saw it, it's not a rumor, so that can be the Mishnah can be talking about that case. Ela ki ata Rav Shemuel bar Yehuda amar Rabbi Abba amar Rav Yehuna amar Rav lo sheshamu kol havara ela kedei sheyomeru peloni mehechan shama mipeloni ufloni mipeloni v'alchu lahem lemedinat hayam. Rather, an updated version of the statement of Rav, not that they heard a simple rumor, but rather that they were able to trace back. And it says, you heard it from that person, who heard it from that person, and they traced it all the way back. But the original people that started that rumor, they went overseas. And so we can't ask them, we can't bring them in as witnesses. But we are able to verify that this is not just some nonsense gossip that, broken telephone. Someone said one thing and then someone overheard the wrong word and made up a whole another story. No, we can verify that this was in fact transmitted correctly back to that person who was there at the time. We can't ask them right now. That's why it's a rumor. It's not eyewitness, but it is somewhat verified. That's the kind of rumor that you have to take seriously according to the Mishnah. Amar le Abaye Rav Yosef, mebatelinan kala o lo mebatelinan. Abaye asked Rav Yosef, should we cancel a false rumor, suppress a rumor, or not? Now, if there's a rumor like this and it's just an echo, should we tell people it's wrong and you can ignore it or not? Amar le medamar Rav Chisda ad shishmu mepi hakesherim shemamina mebatelinan kala. So he said, Rav Chisda says, we're not going to accept a rumor unless we hear it from kosher people that are trustworthy people that could be a good witness, right? So you have to, who are you hearing it from? And so if it's from someone that's trustworthy, then you accept the rumor. Otherwise, you don't. So you see from here, there's a high bar to accepting a rumor, and therefore, if it doesn't pass that bar, we should suppress it. And the Bet Din should say, that's a false rumor. It's nonsense. Go ahead. You can marry that person. Okay, Amar le adraba midamar Rav Sheshat afilu mipi nashim havekol shmamina lo mebatin linan kala. But now we have another opinion opposite. Abaya says, you are following Rav Chisda, but Rav Sheshat says we should take into account rumors, even if women who are not valid as witnesses generally just are saying something, even if it's just like an echo that's being spread around. Rumors, we have to take them seriously. Therefore, if we hear a rumor, we should not suppress it. We have to worry. Maybe, in fact, it's true. And in any case, if the fact that there is a rumor, if there's a rumor that this person is married, and even if it's not substantiated very well, and we go and allow the person to get married, people will say, oh, look, the Bet Din, see, they don't care about adultery. They don't care about marrying women that are already married. So we have to take these rumors seriously. People take them seriously. Often there is truth to them, and therefore we are not going to suppress rumors. That's the other opinion. Amar le atravataninu besura mebatele kala benharda la mebatele kala. And Rav Yosef said told him, right, that was Rav Yosef said we should not take them seriously. Abaye said we should. Rav Yosef says, listen, there are different customs in different places. In Suda, they don't take rumors seriously, and therefore they suppress them. And they said only if it's verified. Otherwise, we treat them as nonsense. We tell people don't listen to it. In the Harda'ah, however, the practice there by the sages, the rabbis there, is like Shmuel. We actually saw this already. Shmuel says we take the rumor seriously and we do not cancel it, suppress it. Now, a couple of stories. There's a certain rumor that this woman they had kiddushin with a Torah yeshiva student. Atye Rav Chama le'avu. So Rav Chama called over her father to ask him, Amar le, Obada, what's going on with your daughter, right? What's this rumor we hear that she had kiddushin? Amar le al tenai kadesh adata de la azil behozai ve'azal. He says, my daughter, yes, it's true, she received kiddushin, but it was dependent on a condition that the groom doesn't go to behozai. And then he went to behozai. Therefore, the condition was not fulfilled. The kiddushin is canceled. So he gave an explanation for a backstory for the rumor. And in fact, right, you should dismiss it. So based on that, we would think that the rumor should be dismissed. Amar le, kevan debeidana dehavai kala lahavai amatla lav kol keminach demachzekat amatla. He says, no, well, I have to dismiss your presumption of a condition, because at the time that this rumor was spread, this explanation did not exist. We didn't hear that explanation, so we can't believe you that to remove that presumption, and we can't believe you to create a new presumption with this explanation. We suspect that maybe you're making up this. Oh yeah, I heard that thing too, and now you just started a new. You made up a new story that there was a kiddushin, but it was al tanai, and he didn't fulfill the tanai. So because you made that up afterwards, so we cannot accept it, right? We saw before that opinion that said you could accept it even 10 days later, but Rabbi Yochanan said no, you cannot do that. So this is following the more stringent opinion that if there's a backstory that is spread at the same time as the rumor is spread, then that's okay. We can believe the backstory, but not one that we did not hear until now. Next story. There was a rumor that a certain woman, she received kiddushin with a mat of dates. This is, dates that after you smash them, it's just some residue of the dates that are on these mats. So it's something that is not worth a lot of money. And this happened in the spring of Be Shifeh. Shelacha Rav Idi bar Avin lekamed Abaye. Rav Idi asked Abaye, what should we do with this rumor? Ki hai gavna mai. Amar le afil mandamad lame betelinan kala beha me betelinan kala. Memad amre ayenu bahu rabanan b'kiddusha vela hava behu shave peruta. This is even according to the opinion that takes rumors seriously and does not suppress rumors. In this case, you should suppress that. You can suppress that rumor. Why? It's not going to lead to anything bad, because if people hear about it and they'll say, "Oh, the rabbis permitted it," they're not going to say something negative like the rabbis permitted a married woman to do kiddushin, to remarry. Rather, they're going to say, I guess the rabbis looked into it, and even though the rumor was true, people will believe the rumor that she received kiddushin, but they'll say, they received kiddushin with leftover dates, just the residue of dates. That's not worth a shaveh peruta, and that's why the rabbi said there's no kiddushin there. And so, since there's an explanation, a backstory that it could possibly be true. So note here, it's not that the rabbis actually assessed this residue of dates and said it's not shaveh peruta, but rather that the rabbis figured that since there is a possible good backstory that could be there. So this is the way rumors work, right? Rumors are based on not so much, but people will take the most natural course of explanation. And if people hear that she got married to someone else, even though there's a rumor that she did kiddushin with the first person, if part of that rumor was that it was with residue of dates, people will say, it's okay, that was not worth shaveh peruta, and they will not give her a problem. But in the other case, if they heard that she did kiddushin with a nice gold ring, then there won't be that out. And people will say, if the rabbis try to cancel the rumor because it's not substantiated, it won't help her out, because people will still say, "Oh, we heard there was kiddushin, and then she got remarried. The rabbis allowed that. No, they shouldn't have allowed it because of mamzer." And so we don't want that to happen. Okay, so it's a good case of a presumed backstory. Another woman, there's a rumor that she did got kiddushin. One of the sons of this person. We don't know which son. He had an older son, he had a younger son, one that was a minor, but we don't know which one. And that's the rumor. This is even according to the opinion that we should be stringent and take rumors seriously. In this case, we can cancel the rumor. Why? Because people will not assume the worst, that she got kiddushin, she went and married a second guy after first kiddushin. People will say, I guess the rabbis looked into it, and that kiddushin that she did with one of the sons, they found out it was with a minor son, and a minor cannot do kiddushin; it's invalid, and therefore it was null and void, and therefore her second marriage is okay. Again, here it's not that the rabbis actually know that it was the minor son, but because it was simply a rumor, and really the rabbis would say, okay, just throw it out. But once the rumors are out, so the rabbis have to be concerned about what people will say in the future and protect the reputation of her and her future children. So therefore, in a case like this, where there is a possible backstory, the rabbis will rely on that. Even those who are machmir and take rumors seriously will rely on the possible backstory. Another story, that a woman got kiddushin from a minor who looked like an adult. A kid, he grew a lot, even though he was only 11. And so he looks like an adult. So what about that? Should we worry about this rumor? And so Mordechai told Rav Asher, oh, we have a similar story. And they said, the rabbis there said, this kid, no, he's just a kid. He has not yet reached adulthood. To say adulthood, they are quoting a pasuk from Shirat Devorah that says Liflagot Reuben. Now the literal interpretation is the division of Reuben, meaning the armies of Reuben. They didn't come and join in the war in Sisera, and so she is rebuking them and said, "Great is the investigation that we need in order to figure out why Reuben did not come and join the other tribes." That's a simple reading. The midrashic reading is Gedolim lev. If someone is an adult, then they have mental capacity and they can go and do transactions and get married. But if it's a minor, then they cannot. And so we apply that rule here also to this case, where this was a minor who happened to be very tall and looked like an adult. So the rabbi said, no, he is a minor, and therefore they were able to nullify that rumor. Okay, Mishnah said that a rumor is trusted unless there's an alternate explanation. This is the original place of the quote that we had in the beginning of the daf. Ravuna says, when you talk about an alternate explanation, it is acceptable not only if it's spread at the beginning, but even if it comes out from the beginning until 10 days, it's still acceptable, even though the rumor was circulating by itself, and then 10 days later the alternate explanation starts circulating. Still, we can rely on that. So you see, he's very lenient in nullifying rumors. Rav Zavid Amar b'mkom amatla chosheshin la'amatla. Rav Zavid is also lenient, in a way even more lenient, because he says even if there's a possibility of an alternate explanation, that's fine, right? We can assume that is true. Not only if we actually know that, let's say it was a kiddushin al tanai or something like that, or that it was like the minor child as we saw above. Not only when we know for sure, but even if it's a possibility, that we can that some people can assume. So that's fine, right? We'll just assume that possible backstory and use that to deny the rumor. Itibe Rav Papa Rav Zavid. Rav Papa is not happy with Rav Zavid that it's not an actual backstory, but only a possible backstory. Because in the Mishnah it says you have to trust the rumor unless there is an amatla. That means there has to be an amatla, not just the possibility of an amatla. No, so he says, no, this is how I understand the Mishnah. Not that there is a matla, but that there's a possibility of an amatla. That's how I understand the Mishnah. No problem. Amar Rav Kahana Rav Papa. Rav Kahana is going to challenge Rav Papa. That what Rav Papa really? You think only if there's only an actual backstory, but if it's a possible backstory, then you wouldn't accept it? V'hatanan. What about this Mishnah in Masechet Yevamot? Ditkadesha v'achar kach ba ba'ala muteret lachzor. La mishum damrinan al tenai kadesh. We're talking about a case of a couple. The husband goes away and is rumored to have died. She goes ahead and does kiddushin in the meantime, based on that rumor. And then the husband returns and said, no, I didn't die. I'm here, right, live in the flesh. So, in that case, the halacha is, since there was only kiddushin, not nisuin, and then she didn't have bi'ah with this guy, only so that kiddushin is in fact invalid, because she was married the whole time. And she can even go back and return to and live together with her first husband. Now, why do we allow that? Is it not because we have a proposed, a possible matla? What will people think? They will think that, well, the husband went away and she got remarried. I guess that means that, and he was alive. So I guess that means he divorced her before he left, right? People will assume that. And then people will then further assume that the second guy gave her kiddushin on condition that the husband doesn't come back. But now he came back. And so that the condition the condition is fulfilled. The second kiddushin is nothing, and therefore she can go back to her first husband, and she's permitted because there was no husband in between. Now, this didn't actually happen. There was not actually a kiddushin al tenai. In fact, it's just that she was always married to the first guy, so the second kiddushin was nothing. But we even though there'll be a rumor, but we can propose. There's a supposed rumor, and we can rely on that to nullify the rumor that the husband had divorced her, and then there's a kiddushin in between, which would make her prohibited from going back to the original one. So you see here, this is Rav Kana's question to Rav Papa, that we do rely on a supposed rumor that it was kiddushin al tenai, even though there was actually no kiddushin al tenai. And the answer is Shanei Atam Tate Baal Vekam Me'ad Eir. No, here it's different. The husband comes back and he says, hey, you can't do kiddushin to that because you're married to me. And that shows that there was never a divorce. He didn't divorce her to begin with. And so since he's saying that you were always married to me, therefore there's actually no problem at all, because now everybody knows, oh, he went away, she made a mistake, and thought that he was dead, and she did the kiddushin. But since he was always alive, in fact, the kiddushin that she did with the second guy is null and void, and therefore she can go back to the first husband. And so this is not based on a supposed backstory of kiddushin al tenai. You don't need that kiddushin al tenai because everybody knows for sure that they actually were not divorced in the first place. Okay, if so, then even if the similar case, they're married, he goes away, there's a rumor that he died, and she goes and does kiddushin and nisuin to a second guy. So in that case also, why don't we say that second marriage is null and void, because the husband was always alive, and therefore she should be permitted, assuming he's not a kohen. So it was adultery, but it was unwitting, right? Because she thought he was dead. So it should be permitted to go back. So why don't we allow her to go back in the case of when she's married? Right. In fact, the halacha there is that she has to leave both the first husband and the second husband and receive all 15 penalties that were enumerated back there in Yevamot. So the answer is Niser abda isura kansura banan. Dit kadesha de la abda isura la kansuha banan. When she actually was married to the second husband, where she did a prohibition. She committed adultery, although unwitting, but actually she could have been more careful and made sure, waited some time or done some investigation to see if the husband is alive or not. So in that case, the rabbis saw fit that they should to give her a penalty and not allow her to go back to the first husband or stay with the second husband because she, based on this rumor, went ahead and got remarried without verifying. But if there was only Kiddushin, so okay, well, she opened her hand and received a coin. That's all. She didn't violate any law. She didn't sleep with another man. So therefore, the rabbis did not see any need to penalize her and said, well, your second Kiddushin was actually nothing. You can go back to your first husband. All right. Amar Rav Asher. Kol kala delait chazak bebedina lav kalahu. Rav Asher is lenient regarding rumors. He says any rumor that is not confirmed in court is not a significant rumor. Just because you hear people saying something negative about someone, dismiss it, right? Doesn't mean that they are married or divorced or anything unless a bet din confirms it. We saw this quoted at the beginning of the daf. Any rumor that it comes after a person already got married, we don't worry about it. Once the person's married, then some rumor that says, oh, she was not divorced before, she was divorced, she's marrying a Kohen, and she was married to someone else, we ignore that. And before she gets married and there's a rumor, let's check it out first before we allow her to get married. But she's already married, and then the rumor comes out, we ignore it. So this would this suggest that if, let's say, they did Kiddushin, but not Nisu'in, and then during and that in-between stage, the rumor came forth, then maybe we should take into consideration. Rav Chaviva Amar, afilu lebatar is erusin, nami la chashinan, velchata la chashinan le. Rav Chaviva says we can be lenient and disregard a rumor even after just Kiddushin, when technically they could break up. She would still need a get. But I said, no, once he did Kiddushin, and it's just a rumor, then don't bother with it. Ignore it. Only if you didn't do Kiddushin yet, then we'll tell the person, wait, don't do Kiddushin because of this rumor. Amar Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, Shalchu le mibe Rav lishmuel. ילמדנו רבנו, יעשה עליה כל מראשון, ובא אחר וקידשה קידושי תורה. מהו? So Rav is asking Shemuel. Remember, Shemuel was in the place, in the Hadadah, where they take rumors seriously. They don't nullify rumors. Okay, so he asked the question, what if you have a woman that there's a rumor that Mr. A did Kiddushin to her, and then Mr. B came and did real proper Kiddushin with witnesses, that's a definite Kiddushin. What are we going to do with this woman? Is she actually married to the first because you take rumor seriously? Or, well, that's only a rumor, and now we for sure is married to the second, so maybe she should stay married to the second. Shalach lehu teseh ve'amidu davar al burio ve'hodi oni. Shemuel said, she should leave the second guy, even though that was for sure because we take rumor seriously. Maybe she's actually has Kiddushin with the first guy, and then let her separate and investigate the matter and let me know what happened. Okay, now we ask, Mai vehemidu hadavar al burio. What exactly is the investigation trying to find out? Ile madi'im megalia milta de kiddushe de kama lavd kiddushe me'al yaninhu mebatelinan kala v'hana da'atre de Shmuel hu ve'la mebatele kala. If the investigation is to see whether that first kiddushin from Mr. A was not Kiddushin at all. Let's say we can look into it, and thereby we will nullify that rumor. That can't be because Shemuel was in the Hadaah, and that's the city where they do not nullify rumors. Over there, they take rumors seriously. And so they wouldn't nullify the rumor anyway. So that doesn't matter what the investigation would come out with that in that case. Rather, they're going to try to establish that the rumor was true. and the first kiddushin from Mr. A was valid. If they can establish that, then they'll know that the kiddushin from the second guy was nothing, and she does not require a get from the second guy. She can go live happily ever after with the first, with Mr. A. That's what they're trying. That's what the investigation is going to be. All right. Ufeliga de Rav Huna, de Amar Rav Huna, eshet ish pashta yada vekibela kiddushin macher mekodeshet. This conclusion, that if you can establish that she had Kiddushin with Mr. A, and even though she received Kiddushin from Mr. B, she doesn't need a get from Mr. B because she was already married to Mr. A, that is in disagreement with Rav Huna. Because Rav Huna says, a married woman, who opens her hand and receives Kiddushin from a second guy, she has to get a get from the second guy, right? Because basically receiving that get is denying that she is married to the first guy. And if a woman denies that she's married, it means it's a way of saying, I got divorced from that guy. And in such a case, we would believe her that she divorced this first guy and married the second guy. Rav Hamnuna, Rav Hamnuna, Isha Shamra leBaala gerashtani, ne'emedet chazaka en isha me'iza paneha bifnei Baala. Rav Hamnuna said that if a woman goes to her husband and says, you have divorced me, she is believed, because we have a presumption that a woman would not be so brazen to lie outright in front of her husband if it's not true at all. So if she says, you divorced me, we assume it must be true. And this would be the same thing. If she is receiving Kiddushin from a second guy, then that is an indication that the first husband divorced her, and therefore the second Kiddushin would be at least suspected that it is valid enough that we will require her to receive a get before doing anything else. Ve'idach, now, Shemuel, who permitted such a case without a get, what does he say about this? How come we don't believe her by receiving the second Kiddushin to say to that she was divorced from the first guy? Kitma de Rav Hamnuna befanav, shelo befanav me'iza or me'iza. No, Rav Hamnuna only said that if it's in front of the first husband's face, and a woman says, you divorced me, then we believe her. But if he's not there, then a woman would be brazen to lie outright, not in front of the person. It's easier to lie when the person's not there in front of you than if you're going to just contradict the person to his face. Most people are not professional liars that could get away with that. So since it's not in front of him, and therefore he says this is a case where the husband is not there, and she received Kiddushin from a second guy, so then that is worth nothing. We assume, if we can verify that she was in fact married to the first guy, then the second Kiddushin is nothing because it was not in front of the first husband. Now, lo masu davar al burio mahu. Now, what if, in this case of Shemuel, they were not able to establish that the first guy really did Kiddushin, it's only a rumor? What would we do? Amar Rav Huna, megaresh rishon v'noseh sheni. Aval megaresh sheni v'noseh rishon, lo. Ma'ay ta'ama atel memar machazir girushato min ha'erusin. So Rav Huna says that the first guy should give her a divorce, and then she can marry the second guy. Because no matter what, if the first guy had given her Kiddushin, and then she got Kiddushin from the second guy, well, that second Kiddushin would be nothing. So we'll just cancel that out. She receives a get from the first guy, so she got Kiddushin and get from the first guy, and now she goes and marries the second guy. Fine, she can stay with the second guy. And if the first guy never did Kiddushin with her, well, now this get was actually unnecessary, just giving it anyway. She already received Kiddushin from the second guy, and so she can go and marry the second guy. So either way, she's good to stay with the second guy. But the other way around is not good. Why? Because people will say, this looks like someone who is married, she and gets divorced, marries another guy, and then comes back and remarries the first guy, which is not allowed. Because the way it looks like is if the first guy did Kiddushin, and then she goes and got Kiddushin from the second guy. Well, and then she gets a divorce from the second guy. So people will assume, well, I guess she got divorced from the first guy because she went and married the second one. And so now she's married to the second one. She gets a divorce from the second one. and then goes back with the first one, that looks like machzir gerushato, even though actually the first one didn't give her a get in between, and maybe he never even did kiddushin in the first place, but because it's marit ayin, it looks like it would be machzir gerushato, and we want to avoid rumors in the first place. Rav Shinana bered Rav Idi amar af megaresh sheni benose rishon memar amri ayini barabanan bekiddushe ta'ut hava. Rav Shinana, the son of Rav Idi, says no, she can even get a get from the second one and then marry the first one. And don't worry about the rumor, because people will say, oh, she went and married the first guy. Oh, it must be that the rabbis checked into it and they found that the second kiddushin was a mistake, was done mistakenly. There was a problem with it, and she never got kiddushin from the second guy, and therefore, okay, she had kiddushin from the first guy. Some kind of mistake with the second guy, and she either remains with or goes back and remarries the first guy, and so there's no problem of marit ayin, and there's also no problem of actual halacha, because if she was married to the first guy, the second one was nothing, so she can go back, she can remain with the first one, and if the first guy never gave her kiddushin, that's also fine, because she was married to the second guy, got a get from that second guy, and then she goes and marries the first guy. She was never married to the first guy in the first place, and so it's not machazir gerushato. Yasa aleha kol mizeh umizeh. New case, what if there's a rumor that a woman got kiddushin from A, and then there's another rumor that she got kiddushin afterwards from B. Now there's two rumors, two contradictory rumors. Mahu, amar papa, afzo megaresh rishon venoseh sheni. Papa says same thing. That she should, the case before was, there was a rumor that she got kiddushin from the first, and she definitely got kiddushin, meaning with proper witness, from the second. Not that we know the second one's valid, but that we know that there was a ceremony. But this case is, there's two rumors. So Rabba says same thing. The rumors we have to take seriously, and even if they are serious, it doesn't really matter which one's which. It doesn't matter if they're both true, or one's true, or which one's true. It's easy to simply get a get from the first guy and then marry the second guy, and no matter what permutation, she'll be okay. Amemar says you don't have to take these rumors so seriously, and she can decide either one that she wants to marry. All right, so there's two contradictory rumors anyway. So let her marry whichever one she wants, and that'll be fine. B'hilchata muted l'shnehem, and the halacha is in fact she can marry either one that she wants to afterwards. So it was a very important sugya. Starting off with the Mishnah that says you take rumors seriously, except if there's a backstory, and you see a huge discussion about it. But the major thrust of this of the opinions here is that rumors, you have to be suspicious of them, and we can't ruin people's lives because of rumors. So, but we do have to take into account public opinion at the same time and make sure people will have a clear reputation. And so the rabbis are following a very careful balance, but mostly they want to make sure that rumors will not negatively affect relationships. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.